wanted to show you just one thing because there's always time for yoga. So if you feel like you can't practice, you don't have enough time, you can do one thing. And just doing that one thing can change everything. Today, I want to show you something we're going to do at the wall, but to explain it, we're going to start on the floor because most people are familiar with the pose called Paschimottanasana. Paschimottanasana is full extension of the Western body, which is the back body. And so regular Paschimottanasana, you're sitting on the ground and you're doing a forward fold, and it's a forward bend. It's not that the back doesn't round in Paschimottanasana, it does, but it should round at the top. It should not be rounding at the bottom. Think about how we spend most of our day in what I call slumpasana. And if you're looking at my lumbar curve, my shoulders should be over the hips, but most of us end up with the shoulders rounded forward and the sacrum and the lumbar going back. Now, if I'm going to then do this in Paschimottanasana, I'm going to, this might be familiar if you're a teacher, you might recognize many students doing this. If your hamstrings are tight, it's going to pull you further into that tuck position. And here I am doing a pose that is really just cranking and yanking on these ropey muscles. And I'm further putting my lumbar discs in a position of precariousness. And then if you're in a class where you get the cue to raise your arms up overhead and then go into Paschimottanasana, well, it is a recipe for potential disaster. Now, what can we do about this? Well, we can completely get off our butt, which is what we're going to end up doing. But first, just by changing the angle of the pelvis, we'll give you more height. We'll give you a different angle. So I've lifted my butt up. Your hamstrings are tight. Bend the knees. You're bending the knees deepens the groin. So you see, this is really that first fold that we're trying to get to. But so many of us don't have access to that because we're sitting back on our butt. So you can see that this fold, where my pinky fingers right now are in my groin, if I'm sitting back on my tail, I've unfolded this. We want to fold. This is a forward fold. A forward fold does not start at the top of the sacrum. That collapses the ribs collapses the diaphragm, the ribs into the abdominal cavity. It's like, you can't breathe. That's why many of us it contributes actually to this pandemic of shallow breathing, anxiety. Not good. All right, lift the butt. You can sit on as many blankets as you want. Oh, it's like getting a better view. Bend the knees. The knees are up. The hips are neutral. Knees are up, toes are up. Come down. My entire chest is on my legs. So guess what? These muscles aren't working to hold myself up. Well, what about my head now? I don't want to be cranking it forward because that'll be doing a forward fold and a deep back bend in the neck. You can put blocks underneath. You can put as many blocks underneath. So if you need to bend your knees this much, totally fine. Build up the pedestal for your head. Well, that can be very restorative. And so to get the big opening of the Western body, we want to move your butt back, but if you're on blankets, you don't want to fall off the edge. So you can move your feet forward. And as your hamstrings open up in the belly of the muscle, not at the hamstring attachment, you can walk your feet further and further forward. So it begins to lengthen out. But I never lose this contact. I never lose that ball and mitt fit of the knees and the armpits, of the hands and the heels. And a lot of people will grab the tops of the feet here. No, it's totally fine. You're looking, you want that contact. But grabbing the heels, it brings the entire pose underneath yourself. You really begin to walk back. And soon, you don't need that one. There you are. And then eventually, the legs are together and the block comes on the outside because you can reach further. Because your front body, this really opens the front body when you're in that first fold. Your front body is long, your butt is moving back, and you can reach 2 blocks. Feet come together, and then your shins hold your forehead. Now, what if you don't have all these props, or you don't have all this time? What if you're at your office and you're working, or you're at school, or you're at the library studying? If you have a wall, I'm pretty sure in any building you can find a wall. We can do this. This is also very nice because it gets you up off your pelvis, off your butt, where we really have the tendency